If I were to tell you that fixing this one jungling decision could be the difference between you being hard stuck and turbo climbing to your ranked goal, would you try it? These junglers did, and they all peaked in Season 12. But what did they change? It was a result of them fixing this jungle pathing decision that they were ignoring along with 90% of other junglers. In this video, I'm going to show you how to jungle with this incredibly powerful concept that isn't always obvious in-game, and how you can harness it to win more games and climb faster from the jungle. But first, can you guess these 3 things that you have to focus on if you want to win in the jungle and become the jungle difference every single game? If you can't, then you're probably in trouble because I didn't really blow it out that much. First, we have optimized game plan. Second, we have jungler tracking. And third, we have objective control. This special jungle decision we're talking about in this video falls kind of in between the second and third points. First, I want to show you a prime example of how these 3 things can get you fed in basically every single game. And then I will reveal the simple pathing trick that allows you to take over even if you're 400 to 500 LP lower than the enemy jungler. And yes, it's that potent and that powerful. And first off here, we have our Grandmaster-ish, Challenger-ish Kindred versus the equal ranked Taliyah. In the second example, where I will show you this fundamental jungling decision principle that will allow you to apply to your own games, the Kindred will be Platinum 4 and the Taliyah will be Diamond 4. And yes, the Kindred had the opportunity not only to destroy the Taliyah, but to smurf on her ass. And I'm gonna make sure that you understand how exactly that could have happened. But first, we need to understand exactly what this Kindred's doing. So this is a very similar principle. We're going Red Raptors into the Grump, and then we're gonna look to shadow the bot lane. Why? Because our game planning, the first thing I talked about that we need to have, has to be rock solid, pun not intended, and there's no Malphite here, so it's not a double pun. We have to understand that if I want to gank bottom lane and snowball bottom lane as my win condition, then I need to clear and path appropriately. The Taliyah, on the other hand, is going from the Red Raptors, will be going up to the same kind of clear, potentially looking to snowball the gangplank. Kindred uses exquisite, at this point, regular Kindred pathing to go over the wall in case it's warded up from the pushing lane, and we are now going to try and burn some sums and grab some kills on the enemy bot lane, which we do for 1 kill. Hello, Tom Kench. He flashes. He can live. Not forever, but for now he lives. Perfect, right? Short clear, flexi clear, into the bottom lane gank using good pathing to avoid vision, should it potentially have been set up, which of course it is. Always track when you're clearing. If a laner detaches and moves on up into the river and down again, you will see that they actually warded that river, or at least you can presuppose it, and so you can path around it and make sure you get to your destination without being seen. Taliyah, on the other hand, is going to go ahead and do a very similar clear and go on the top side. The Kindred, on the other hand, decided that, look, my game plan is to snowball bottom lane. I need to do jungle tracking. And as soon as you see the Taliyah here, right, we're pressing tab, we're seeing 16 CS, 18 CS, which means with both buffs that she did her Red Raptors Grump into the blue. Now she's gone to the top lane here, snacked 2 minions, cleared some vision, that always gives 1 or 2 extra CSs, and she's doing the same thing the Kindred is doing. So the jungle tracking, in terms of what a clear is, up here. And now we know we can cheese and dive the bottom lane, and that tier 1 Krug camp is going to be available. So, here we go, let's have a look. Jinx, unfortunately, still has her flash. Will she use it to survive? Probably not at this point. The Jan is kind of low, so you want to be careful here not to feed the enemy team. Obviously, Jinx has now flashed. We want to make sure that we don't feed the enemy team with a frivolous dive. Now, Taliyah is taking our Krugs, so we will take her Krugs. We can time that 417 is second Raptor camp to snack that away as well. And because we have now 1 mark in the bank, should come up with a mark very soon, which of course it does. And now because our tracking is on point, we've done the same thing, mirrored the Taliyah, whose game plan is just opposite to ours. They overstaying, they don't expect the Kindred to still be here. We're going to kill the Tom Kench, we're going to kill this Jinx again. And now in theory, because Taliyah is still topside, we can move on over with a smite coming up and snack away this here Raptor camp, which we will do. So if you're a Kindred player and you want to smurf the game, that's how you do it. So what Kindred does is leave the base after purchasing New Noon Quiver plus a pickaxe, takes the Wolf Camp, takes the blue, takes the Grump because, the blue's still up, a second Grump is spawned, and we know the Krugs are gone on our top side. There's no real point to, go there because there's only going to be a Raptor camp up and nothing else. So we might as well go to the side of the map with the most experience. What we do is use this typical pathing again to move through the river, vision tricks as well. And now you're going to see this nice flanking gank on the Zoe, and you're going to see pings on the minimap. Why? Because the Zoe went and warded this as the Kindred was sliding through here. Hugely important. Why did they do that? Because it gives a tempo advantage over the Taliyah, who's also going to need to eventually come to this bottom side. We Q hop the wall again. We're going to use this plant here to try and snack away this Krug camp. We know the Taliyah is here. We kind of would have that understanding. She shows up. We're able to snack that. There's 5 marks already at 6 minutes 30. We get hit by the Taliyah W, and now we disengage. Good aggressive pathing, good tracking. Everything about jungling aggression, carnivore style control has been amplified in this early game. And then of course we need objective control, so why don't I just stay here, wait for the ward, and kill bot lane again? So the game plan was to obliterate bot lane, to snowball my jinx and snowball myself from the double kills that I can get, and they have done that successfully. But this now has to be translated to objective control. But here's the kicker. The best objective for us after we go back to base to finish Kraken is obviously that juicy herald. That's the one we want, yes? That's the one that amplifies our snowball and gets us in control of the game, not necessarily always the dragon. But we do want to keep that objective control. And if you choose the wrong pathing decision in this moment right here, and I'll show you exactly what I mean in the second example where that mistake is made, not only will you not get the herald, you will miss out on free kills, free plates, free towers. And what are you going to do then when the enemy jungler is 500 AP better than you and has stayed in the game relative to you? Now you're behind, now you're trapped, and now they know how to actually punish you. So the Kindred here again uses extreme violence. Obviously the Zoe's collapsing here and giving a shutdown. This is taking things too far, but obviously even the highest elo players, Faker himself, will push things. Canyon really dies like this a lot in solo queue. He really likes to push the limits of what's possible. We skip forward, we've respawned, we've done a Krug camp, we've moved back into the top side. Why? Because we really want that mark, and we really want that herald. Our bot lane is snowballed. Can you spot the crucial decision that allowed our Kindred here to snowball against the enemy Taliyah? Keep that in mind as we go through the rest of the example, and before we jump into the final example where I'll show you how to do it yourself. But essentially, we're waiting for the Taliyah to show her hand. We're waiting for our support to help us out, and as soon as we are provided a window, and this is a crucial tip here, as soon as we are provided a window into taking this herald, we take it, right? That window is not compromised by our decision or misdecision. If we see a gank, if we see an ability to use it, we're going to do so. Gangplank is moving up through here, stupidly, because we just took the herald, but let's face it, anyone below Master Plus is walking this way as well, so we'll allow a Grandmaster to make said mistake every now and then. She's now counter jungling us. This is a trade we're making. We're making this trade here for the counter jungling, but we get to push top lane. Remember this is very important for the next example. We get to activate this herald and get 5 plates for ourselves. We've now elevated the game state. We can go back to base. We now have Wits End completed. We're going for a bit more Bruiserish because of the Zoe and the Taliyah. We can basically see that all of our stuff on the bottom side is gone. Therefore, I'm going to take my red side and I'll just abuse the top laner again. If I lose a dragon for this, I lose a dragon for this because the objective control doesn't really matter at this particular phase, given that the crucial objective for us is now the herald, but also the enemy jungle camps. We want to live and reside and make sure we're making these picks. Look at this. This is the kind of pressure you want. But we also knew, once we pigeonholed the Taliyah into only being in one place in the bottom quadrant, that she only had one place that she could eventually go to try get something back, and that would give us the herald, the plates, the picks on the gangplank, and now obviously we can move on down to the bottom lane, across the river control, jungle tracking, objective control, and snack ourselves a dragon. And our fourth pathing point, which we will now discuss and show how you can apply it to your games to make it a more visceral concept. I have put my live jungle companion guide on Zota.gg and tailored it to over 30 junglers. That's almost every single jungler. This includes my patented ganking tier list, my game plan maker, what jungle routes you should go for your champion. It tells you what I would do in any given scenario in the early, mid, and late game. All through a dynamic pop-out on your screen where you can control whatever you want to see or don't see, including all of Za's in-game information, which you can of course tailor to your preferences and move wherever you like on the screen. How nice. Along with the specific best routes, best items, and best runes for your champion, the Jungle Live Companion Guides on Zota.gg by Virkayu is your best way to improve and get better. With more than 8,000 players and 46,000 games played on my Zota.gg guides, I trust them to get you where you want to be. And also stay ahead of the curve by the time Season 13 arrives, as I will update them frequently, so get your goals by the end of Season 12 and exceed them in Season 13 with a link in the description below. And just to speak from the post-editing room, yes, I did kind of explain the early game and the similarities between the Platinum Jungler and the Challenger Jungler, but obviously it didn't work out as well, but there were some good things. We ganked bottom lane, we ganked mid lane, but instead of repeat ganking the third time in the bottom lane, we did a full sequence up, and that's where we will join the action so we can finally build up to the point of making for the whole video. Now we go ahead and do a full sequence. Yasuo ganks the top lane with the Malphite to grab a kill. Taliyah hasn't done anything since the last time we saw them, neither has the Kindred, but Taliyah shows on the bottom side here, having taken that red buff. Again, struggling. So what would you do as a Kindred? Good pathing principles, right? Tracking, reaction. Let's go ahead and take everything, which of course we do. Now we last saw Taliyah down here, having all of her camps taken, because we didn't show, she didn't show. We're gonna go ahead for the counter gank here, at least the gank, before the Taliyah shows up. We tank a tower shot, we tank 2 tower shots, excuse me. Taliyah shows up in her ultimate. Very funny spells, not hitting anything. Multiversal Pathing Paradox, point 1. At this point, what will most of you do? You'd think, well, all of this is gone, right? I have 1200 in pocket. There's a dragon available. Taliyah is looking to path towards the top side. Maybe I could snack this objective. The objective control for the snowball component is tied to the Herald. We don't want to go ahead and tank a mountain dragon when the enemy bot lane's going to show up and cause us a bit of distress. Most notably, you should have seen on the minimap, even though it's small, RNG Crab. Huge. I don't want to allow her to get that. We're level 7, she's level 6. We need to body her off of that and snack her because the Herald is our focus. Fortunately, I gave a little prompt like, what about the crab? We turned around, but again, waffling, waste of time. If you guys are not paying attention to this, you're going to miss out on these neutral freebies. We know that she's going for a blue side because she shows up here and realizes, oh, look, it's all gone. Remember, save your Q. You want to avoid the Taliyah W. You don't want to Q on her E either because you'll get stunned. We're going to body her off of this. We don't have smite, but that's fine. Use your body to block. Watch the vision pathways in case she decides to come on in. And now what we're going to do is hit this plant to see if she may be going to the top side. Because from the Taliyah's perspective, as a more skilled jungler, and you'll recognize this freeze frame, and this is where we get into the real juicy multiversal pathing technique, this is where the universe shifts for the Kindred over the next 5 to 7 minutes, and that's what causes the Taliyah to take over the game. Step 1. The Taliyah is going to see and know that the Kindred is pathing this direction. This is a pushing lane. She will assume that because there's nothing up here, and the Kindred knows that she's in this area, that maybe the Kindred will want to kind of slide in and get this gank off. We don't have the Malphite ult, but it is coming up, and a hard pushing lane with a Kindred this fed, even without the kills of the last game, is still potent. The Taliyah can then slide in for a counter gank, right? That's the jungle mind games. But remember what the goal is. We have snowballed the bot lane to a little bit of a degree, not as much as the last game, but we did our job. Herald, that's what we wanted to elevate the game state to the next level. So we're going to look for this, hit this, see no Taliyah, and this is why I just let him make his own decisions. We're going to move on up and say, I can sequence down to this, or I can sequence down to this. But wait, maybe I can hold mid lane. I got 10 seconds left on the Raptor respawn. It is filled with dead space, null time. Nothing is being used. Look at this. All we know is, we don't exactly know where the Taliyah went, because the Taliyah could have just sequenced down. We don't really know for sure if she's going up or down. But we had 3 decisions. 1, cut in and just take this, maybe do something bot lane, go down here, kill them, fall back to this. We'll lose this potentially, but if the Taliyah is going down, we'll cut in front of her, get the objective. Second thing is, we can just go and hold this, but you need to be aggressive holding it, like push the Silas off the wave, don't let him get free CS, and then actually start to absorb it, not just kind of waffle around and wait for it. And thirdly, and the best option for our win conditions and multiversal pathing decision making is to ensure that we path towards the lane that we can gank before the Taliyah gets there, because she has nothing else to do on the top side, which means we force her down. If we force her down, she's going to make a desperate play here. If we had just pathed up, look at what happened. Look at where we were, and look at the state of the lane. You look at this, you see Cannon pushing with a Gnar into a Malphite. I'm thinking, you know what? He's mega. I can keep moving up for this, because this will time out eventually, but with Malphite getting his ult very, very shortly in 29 seconds, well, not that shortly, but I don't think we need the Malphite ult anyway. We can definitely take this fight with our lead, so we should go up here. I would look for this gank so I can make sure I can get it, shove it, take a plate, take the Herald, Malphite comes back in with his TP, and then we do it. But we'd be in this right now. This guy is dead. Gnar is dead. Malphite's alive. In theory, with the Malphite having his TP, you don't need to kind of do anything about this, but you could hold it and fall back down to this using that time. Malphite comes back, and then you repeat gank it and shove it. 3 plates, push it, same thing as the last game, back to base, and now you can swoop down and do exactly what that Kindred did in the last example. Shadow bot, kill the jungler, take the dragon. Objective control is working, our tracking was working beautifully, and our game plan was seen to fruition. Unfortunately, because we didn't do that and we went down, Gnar is fighting the Malphite. And look at this. Taliyah says, hey, I should opportunistically do something about this. She just did wolves and saw that they were low, so she was going to go ahead and do this. The Kindred, in the meantime, is just fallen back to the wolves because they showed the Taliyah where they were going. We see the Taliyah, so now we're going to go ahead and snack a dragon, which is fine. This is a decision most of you would make, but you have to think in terms of what's the most important objective that I can get right now, what's the most important thing I can do in terms of elevating the game state in my advantage, and then I could come down bottom lane afterwards. And because we don't do that, Taliyah moves on all the way down here. Hello. We do get that, fortunately. And now after that, we've done our blue side, of course, and the Taliyah's going to say, well, thank you for the Herald. We're giving away a free objective. This is a good patient gank, and we can watch this through as we go, but we're losing that Herald who's going to be used mid lane, all right, which gives a lot of place to the Silas. It pushes up the map into a negative game state, and eventually the Taliyah will get a quadra kill around a crucial dragon fight, and we don't take a fight we should because we don't press tab to realize the itemization advantage we have over them. Nice gank. There we go. Double kill. And what we're talking about is this. We see the Taliyah a little bit later on clearing this, okay? If you press tab while she clears this, as you move on down, we have Kraken plus Serrated Dirk completed. She would have last chapter and a Dark Seal plus Boots, which means she's got probably 3k in the pocket, and then we checked, and it was literally 3k in the pocket because she has not based for the longest time. As such, this is an absolute free dragon. I can go for it straight away because I know that she's gonna have to base here. I know that Thresh is coming at a base. I know that Misfortune is pushing this to kill this tower. We can just go ahead and quickly snack this. Don't walk over this vision. Use the Fog of War trick we talked about in the last video a few weeks ago. Cut through, queue over, start pulling it, start doing it, and then you can jump on out should anything happen, but it won't because Taliyah has to base. So it's a free dragon, and now we can take a good fight or at least just disengage. But what happens is because we show, and don't do that, we go on now and hover, again, a lot of hovering, stuff that isn't possible because we didn't make the right decision. If you make the right decision, have the right flow to your decision making, and you make the right decision for the right jungle universe that you're in for the champion you're playing, you're gonna have a lot more success. And this is obviously not the best fight here. We try and save the Thresh, just let the Thresh die. The Silas takes his ult as well. I don't know why he does. He didn't have to at all. He could have stacked it. But hey, we die trying to make an aggressive play. I have a lead, and I'm gonna take everything on the map and prevent you from getting anything played. And the rank 1 Belveth, my Discord server, that's his MO. Like in this situation, he's straight top lane killing this Gnar. If Taliyah shows up killing her too, taking this, Malphite can come back or stay, whatever, doesn't matter. Kill the Gnar again, push his game state, reset, and now she'll be living in here, much like the Kindred did in the first example. And that's how all of those players in the intro managed to get themselves to their peak eaters this season because they always took the most aggressive play with the lead that they had that allowed them to get enemy jungle camps, control all objectives, elevate the game states under their control and conditions, and they always abused a weak moment. If they have 3k in pocket and they see it, that is something they're abusing. And if you're not doing that, then you're gonna end up falling and dying to the Taliyah, and then you're gonna have a situation like we have here where we go for the next dragon, and we're fighting in a chokehold, we're getting stunned by Morgana, the Silas is gonna be flanking us, and we just don't have the lead anymore. You know, we're down 4k gold. Personally, we don't have a lead over really anyone that's strong enough that allows us just to free carry games. Taliyah's just gonna clean it from the side here. There you go. If you want to understand exactly how to get that 9,000 gold at 14 minutes, I've made a video just on that for all you hyper carry savants. That video is linked on your screen now.